We welcome to the show Mark Vincent. How's it going?
Look, I'm really, really good. Through it about the song, obviously, and the process of it all and how it went. And to think I'm at this point, I'm so happy, to be honest. It's great.
So, what can you tell us about your new song?
Well, look, last year in October, I had the opportunity to fly to Tuscany and work with a brilliant composer. His name's Pierpaolo Giurini, and he's been Andrea Bocelli's producer for the last 20 years. And anyway, he gave me this song and he said to me, look, this song was originally supposed to be given to Andrea, but I truly think you will sing this song well. And the song that he wrote is called Ami La Vita. Now, the actual translation means if you love life. Now, we thought a great sort of meaning behind the song as an English translation should be called Life is Beautiful. So we recorded the song, and something extraordinary happened through the process. My phone went off, and of all people, it's Andrea Bocelli's wife, Veronica Bocelli. She calls me, and she says to me, would you like to come to my home and meet my husband, Andrea Bocelli, for coffee? And I
Of
thought,
course.
this can't be true. So the next day, I jump in the car, drive 50 minutes to a town called Forte dei Marmi, which is where Andrea lives. And I had the great opportunity to meet one of the biggest and best classical crossover tenors of all time, and for me, it was just such an honor, such a thrill. And to go back to the song, it put everything in perspective. It gave the song a whole new meaning. And I think that's why it's already done, you know, so well. It went to number 1 on the iTunes classical chart for a whole week, and it's just recently re-entered the chart again, which is phenomenal. So I'm truly thrilled about how, the song's coming along already in such a short time.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, meeting one of your idols, Andrea Bocelli, that must have been amazing.
Oh, it was, he was such a wonderful human being, so generous, and to, open his home to me was just such an honor, truly.
Yeah. I mean, as you say, he's one of the best classical singers of all time, isn't he, Bocelli?
Well, absolutely. You think about the history he's had, it's been now 30 years, um, celebrating a career of, all the wonderful things he's done in his life. And, it hasn't been forgotten. He's truly a remarkable artist.
Yeah, I saw him a long time ago in the Theatre of Silence in Italy. That was off the charts. That was unbelievable.
The Theatre del Silenzio.
That's the
Yes,
one.
that's his town. Yeah, that's where he lives. So where I recorded was about 20 minutes from his hometown. It was beautiful, such a beautiful spot, so peaceful.
Mm, yeah. And so, of course, you was first discovered on Australia's Got Talent many years ago now. You were only 15 at the time. What are your memories of that time on the show?
A lot of fond memories, like you said, being at the age of 15, having a chance to perform on national television was such an opportunity, especially for a 15-year-old boy. And, you know, a lot happened to me in that part of my life. I lost my grandfather, who I was very close to a year before the audition. And I guess that sort of gave me the drive to go on that wonderful show. Did I think I'd be sitting here 15 years later talking about, winning that competition and working with the likes of, through the process of 15 years since being on that show, working with people like Catherine Jenkins, Russell Watson, you know. Anthony Warlow, Susan Boyle, Whitney Houston. No, never. But you just don't know what tomorrow will bring. I was just talking about this with my wife a second ago. You don't know what life has in store for you. And for me, to sit here and say I'm 30 years old, and I say this humbly with no ego, you know, I've, sold 500,000 records already. I've worked with some incredible artists. Would I have thought such a thing would be possible? No, absolutely not. But my grandfather did. He knew, even back then, that there was a future. And I won't forget that. So for me, I'm very grateful, and I'm excited about what's to come. Like I'm 30, as they say, the sky's your limit. I can't wait to now elevate myself for the next 15 years and beyond, and just live an experience. Because as you live once, you get one shot at life, and do with it what you love. And for me, that's performing, creating music, experiencing different culture. So I'm excited about what's ahead. Absolutely.
Right. And did your voice change a lot from when you were 15 to say now? I mean, I imagine it would.
It will continue to change. The tenor voice doesn't stop maturing to the age of 45. So I've noticed the last 15 years that the timbre in my voice has gotten a lot more richer, more round, and I'm still doing lessons. I still, I teach students as well. I love it. But you never stop learning. And a voice like mine, a classical voice, has to be maintained. It has to improve. You have to have a healthy vibrato, not to talk too technical here, but to have a longevity of a voice. There are things we must do as singers to nurture it. And to sustain a long career, you have to, have good technique. You have to, you know what's good for your voice and what's not good for your voice. That's really important.
Yeah. Of course, over here we have Paul Potts, originally on our version of Britain's Got Talent, rather. And
Wow.
yeah, I watched his film. That was very interesting because he actually went over to Italy to learn the whole process. So there's a lot to it, isn't there?
Oh, 100%. I actually met Paul Potts myself. He attended the grand final when I won the show in Australia in Melbourne. And I also met him at a show he did in Sydney. Lovely man, lovely guy. But you're right. There's a lot of work that goes into being a classical singer. It's not an overnight thing you just do. It's time and efforts.
It's a different skill, isn't it, compared to, say, a pop singer or
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. It's a different way of singing. You know, all genres of music are great. Singing music's music, but opera especially, there's a certain stamina and craft you have to to be able to do that. And that takes years, years of training, years of practice, years of discipline. Very important.
yeah. So you've been on a tour of Australia and New Zealand. So how's that been?
Amazing. Absolutely fantastic. And you know, I I'm just grateful that I get to tour around the country and experience, live performance and to see the response I've been getting from people who've been coming and seeing me in the theatres has just been, you know, astronomically amazing. I've been very happy. And this year in September, I'm actually heading to the UK to do some more promo for my album coming up and song, which we're discussing. And yeah, I'm just, like I said, I'm happy what's ahead and what I'm doing. It's exciting.
Brilliant. So what can you tell us about the new album?
Well, the new album really, obviously, the feature track on the album is Ami La Vita, my song. The album's going to be called Life is Beautiful. And I believe the song has variety. The album has variety. You've got musical theatre, classical, classic ballads. So I believe this album sort of caters for a really wide audience of people who maybe not necessarily love opera but love musical theatre. So that's a good thing about this album, is that it has variety. And there's songs that people know, songs that have been around for years. One of them being, Who Wants to Live Forever by Freddie Mercury. Great song. So yeah, I'm excited for the record to come.
What's that like when you take on a song of that magnitude, obviously by Freddie Mercury? You put your own spin on it, obviously. But what is that like?
Well, it can be hard because, you're used to hearing a certain version of the song, but then when you have to recreate the Mark Vincent version, that takes time. That's not a 5 minute thing. And you have to nurture that. You have to experience that and live it. You've got to live the songs before you record them. That's, really important because people will hear it. People will go, oh yeah, he's trying to copy Freddie Mercury, or he's trying to copy Josh Groban. Time is the great enemy. And I think when you really master and nurture a song like that, you must give it justice because it's a classic. He Wants to Live Forever, Queen. Like, talk about geniuses. Brian May and all the greats like Freddie Mercury. We're talking about real artists who know what they're doing.
Yeah. So what was the process like? Have you completed the album? What was the process like of?
It's almost finished. We're still working on it, but the process was fun. Like I mean to say, my producer Chong Lin, who's been working with me since I was 15, he said, I've seen such a substantial amount of growth in you as an artist, and that's the thing, you never stop learning. That you can always improve in your craft and what it is that you do. And I think this album has a lot of elements of maturity and honesty, which is what I was looking for, especially the honesty. Because, connection of lyric is very important when you're recording songs. It's not just about singing notes, There's a difference between a listener being moved and blown away. They're two different things. But when you combine, the two of them, that's when the real magic happens, the real magic appears.
So out of all the venues that you've performed at so far, which is your favorite, do you think?
Oh, look, not coincidentally, but I would have to say Royal Albert Hall. I think when I performed there back in 2017 with Catherine Jenkins, that was quite a pinch yourself moment. You're talking about a man who's from the Sutherland Shire in Sydney, a small town, to stand on a stage where pretty much every international performer has stood and performed on. I never thought such a, opportunity could be possible, but it happened. It just shows you just don't know what tomorrow will bring. And to have experienced that was such a thrill and something that I will never, ever forget.
Yeah, lovely venue, isn't it? Especially the acoustics at the Albert Hall. It's fantastic, isn't it?
It's brilliant. It really is.
And you mentioned Andrea Bocelli, but who are some of your other influences, people that you admire in music?
Look, there's a lot of them. I think Bocelli for sure, Luciano Pavarotti, Mario Lanza, absolutely. Um, Franco Corelli, Celine Dion. I love Celine. And recently she did such a phenomenal job at the Paris Olympics. I met Celine back in 2019. Um, Backstage in Sydney, we spoke for quite a bit. And, you know, she's the real deal. She's just a star in every way. We actually spoke backstage, and I said to her, "Look, I said it'd be my dream one day to sing the prayer with you." She grabbed my arm and she said, "Mark, it might just happen. You never know." So I know she hasn't been well, but after the way she sounded at the Paris Olympics, I think she's well on her way to be back on stage again. Absolutely.
Fingers crossed. That'd be great to hear that. Of course, she did that with Andrea Bocelli, didn't she? I believe.
Yes. That's why I want to do it so much because for me, when I watched her at the Grammys when I was 9, I cried. At that age, it was just so moving. The prayer, like, what more could you ask for?
Mhm.
It's such an opportunity. So, fingers crossed that will happen.
Yeah. This next one's very hard, and you might not be able to answer it, but I'll give an answer from my point of view. What's your favorite opera song of all time? Mine has to be Nassim Dorama by Pavarotti. That's my favorite.
Well, to make it easy for you, it's mine as well. You can't really top that aria, really. It's the reason I say that is because you can have people who don't necessarily listen to opera, but when you mention Nessun Dorma from the opera Turandot, written by Puccini, they instantly get drawn to it. There's something about that music that just takes your heart away. La 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 dee, la 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 dee. La 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 dee, la 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 la. It just instantly goes, wow, in your heart, And every time I do that aria, I did it yesterday at a concert, the people just go bananas. They love it because it's such a great song. It touches you here. And the way it was written, it really brings it out in the people in a big way.
Yeah, it really makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, doesn't it?
100%, yes, definitely.
Great. So it's been lovely to speak to you, Mark. When's your new album going to be coming out? Do we know yet? Or
Well, we haven't got an exact date, but it'll definitely be the end of September. So I'm looking forward to that. And like I said, hopefully we can talk some more about it when, it comes out closer to the date. But I must say I really enjoyed chatting with you and thank you for taking the time to do this chat. Thoroughly enjoyed it.